we are all affected by what goes on in the technological advances. If you're an old granny who never touches a computer, you're still affected when the government services are now being made electronic. And the banking sector is now being made electronic. And the judicial system is now being made electronic. And education as well. We have a new database system in education called the Open EMIS, where we log every single student, and pretty soon we will know when those children attend school, when they don't attend school. It will deal with a lot of issues covering these children's attendance in our schools. So the technology is affecting everybody. It's going to affect our societies, and if it is not already doing so, it will come on in a hard way, quick, fast, and hurry, very much the same way that the technology dropped on us. So we must be prepared. And we must be able to protect those who can't protect themselves. And that is why this gathering this morning and for the next 4 days is so very important, because there are some people out there who are not paying attention and who may not have the ability, may not have the knowledge, may not have the interest to develop the kind of protections that are needed. But we in this room who are gathered here, and maybe beyond this room, because I'm sure that not all of the necessary stakeholders are present here today, we have an obligation, we have a duty to protect those others who might not be as savvy in terms of the technology and the progress that we're making, so that we protect them. Our society is affected, our economy is affected. We see the economy of this country now dependent very much on technology. We see the government, as I've mentioned, being dependent on technology. And there's so much that can go wrong that I won't get into. The experts will get into that. And this is why, my friends, we need a symposium like this. In education, our mantra is, education is everybody's business. Well, I want to loan that mantra to you for the next 4 days. Because what goes on here is indeed everybody's business. It is our business in business, it is our business in the judiciary, it is our business in the government, it is our business in the wider public, it is our business in the region, and that is why we have partners from the region here. And I want to ask you to give them a round of applause to welcome them to our beautiful Belize. And it goes beyond the region. I'm sure that those who represent the region will tell you that it goes to the world, because nobody is sacred, nobody is protected. All of us are vulnerable, and so we must act together. And that is, from what I've heard so far, and I hope that will continue to resound as the theme, it is everybody's business. It is only when we are unified to protect ourselves against these threats that we are going to succeed in any measurable kind of way. The change, my friends, starts with us. And I'm very pleased to accept those congratulations on the part of those who have said the government is making the first step and the government is moving in the right direction, which some don't always give credit for. And the government sometimes, I will admit, is slow to move on certain things. Well, this is one thing that you've heard not the Belizeans say, those who come from the region say, Belize has not dropped the ball, so let us continue. And you have the commitment of myself as a Deputy Prime Minister. You heard my colleagues representing the government here as well, being an active part of what is going on here. We will not drop the ball. We will ensure that this continues to be a priority for the government and people of Belize. And when I say that, I mean also that from what I've seen and from what the chairman and Bevel described this morning, this is not one of those talk shops where we just talk and sound good for 4 days. That's a long time. That's a lot of talking. So I hope that that's not what we're going to do. But they have said this is not what we're going to do. And the stakeholders gathered here, and I know that not all of you will be here for the entire 4 days, but for the parts that you're here, you are going to be working on goals. You're going to be working on activities. You're going to come up with concrete ways to help us to protect ourselves. And if we don't have action after developing such wonderful plans, then we are wasting our time. So there must be action. And I urge you, my friends, to put your shoulders to the wheel 100% for these 4 days, but also to put your shoulders to the wheel in terms of its implementation well beyond these 4 days. The commitment must be long-term. I was pleased to hear of the formation of the Internet Governance Forum, the National Internet Governance Forum, because this guarantees a continuity of work. And the work must continue at the regional level as well. That international collaboration and cooperation must be there. And we must as well continue to make the public aware, because while I am saying that we have a duty in this room as the major stakeholders and those who might have a bit more knowledge of the technology and the advances and how it can hurt us, we must also try our best to continue to educate all out there who have a stake. And again, remember, for us, that is everybody. And of course, we must put in place what legal framework and support is needed. And for that reason, I'm very pleased to see the Attorney General and the Chief Justice here. The lawmakers and the law implementers are key to all of this, and our Solicitor General, who is key to generating the kind of legislation. And from what I'm told, we don't need to reinvent the wheel necessarily. We just need to make sure that what we put in place is pertinent and relevant to Belize, because that's another problem sometimes. We take a cookie cutter approach, we pull something down and then it doesn't necessarily fit to our agenda. But that is why we need your input to make sure that whatever legislation is put in place, it is relevant to Belize's needs, mindful, of course, that Belize's needs cannot be all the time much different from what is going on in the rest of the region, as well as the rest of the world, given the nature of the threats that are facing us. My friends, we could go on, but I am not an expert in this, and so I will yield to ensure that the experts whom have come from at home here and abroad get their rightful slots and time to speak with you. I implore you, as I sit down, to put your all, give your 110% effort in the deliberations over the next 4 days. And I also close by giving the commitment of the government of Belize, my boss, the Prime Minister, and my cabinet colleagues. We give our 110% support behind this initiative at Cybersecurity for Belize, the region, and the world. Thank you, and God's blessings.